Hey there, I'm Sean Madden, and I live down in Huttonsville, West Virginia, working with the diocese. And something I've been thinking a lot about over the last couple years is the idea of joy. You hear the saints write about it all the time and tell us how it's the mark of a Christian, and we're called to be a people of joy. We are an Easter people. But if I'm being honest, sometimes joy is hard to find. What does it mean? What does it look like? Like, where is the joy? And in this time of quarantine, for some people, that's a particular struggle to find the joy. And so I thought, you know what? The Rosary, it gives us joyful mysteries. Let's take a look at those. And we can see where joy is found and we can meditate on that. That seems like a great answer. But again, if I'm being honest, when I look at those, we've got the Annunciation, the Visitation, we've got the birth, the Nativity, we've got the presentation in the temple and the finding in the temple. And we go, look at those beautiful stories from the time when Jesus was a baby. There's a birth story, all these joyful things. But really, when I look at them, I kind of see the joyful mysteries that aren't. If I was in those moments, I would not have been all that joyful. You've got a teen mom who finds out that she's pregnant, but not by her fiance. And that's cool because it's God, but the ridicule, the concern, the stress, the anxiety. She goes to visit her elderly geriatric pregnancy cousin whose husband is mute and trying to help her through a pregnancy where her husband can't talk and the people in her community don't get it. That's stressful. That's a struggle. You get the Nativity, and yes, it's the birth of our Lord, but at the moment, they're in a town that they had to travel to, giving birth in a barn. And then we have the visit of the Magi that say, oh, by the way, you need to run away because people are trying to kill you. You get to the presentation and you're like, yeah, it's a beautiful festival. And the prophetess says, your heart's going to be pierced by a sword. I'd walk away from that not feeling joyful, but confused and going, that's kind of ominous. And then you get to the finding of Jesus in the temple. And yes, the finding moment itself is joyful. The 3 days before that is panic, is terrified, is anger, is frustration. Where is Jesus? And then you find him, that's joyful, but then as a parent of a 12 and now 13-year-old, today's her birthday, I'd be ticked and I'd be like, don't you do that to me again. That's hard. And so even these things that our church has elevated as items of joy, they're kind of not. And so what do we do with that? And as I thought about it, to me, the reason those are joy is because we're looking at them through salvation-colored historical lenses. We can look back and see how God was moving in those moments. We can see that God had a bigger plan and that the struggle is an essential component of that sometimes. And that it's that Jesus entered into those moments of struggle. He entered into those moments of stress, anxiety, and pain and did something beautiful with those for our salvation. And while that doesn't always bring me joy to know that, it brings me peace. Because it's hard to look at the moment I'm in right now with those salvation-colored lenses because I'm experiencing the anxiety, the stress. But I have faith, and I can find peace and hope in the fact that as I get through those moments of stress and anxiety, that I too will be able to look back at those mysteries in my life where I wondered, what are you doing, God? And I can see that those are joyful times because I can look back and see how God was working through those. I pray that maybe some of the moments that you're in right now, you can find that blend of peace and hope until you can put on those salvation-colored glasses and find the joy of how God was working in those stressful and anxiety-ridden moments in your life. God bless, and have a great day.